Development for the 7th-generation Corvette started in 2007. Originally set to be introduced for the 2011 model year, its introduction was delayed for 3 years. It was finally released for the 2014 model year. Mid-engine and rear-engine layouts had been considered, but the front-engine, rear-wheel drive, RWD, platform was chosen to keep production costs lower. To GM's product planners and marketers, the fact that the Corvette had become known as an old man's toy became a prime factor in developing the next generation. Studies showed that about 46% of Corvette buyers in 2012, through October, were 55 or older, compared with 22% of Audi R8 and 30% of Porsche 911 customers. The head of Chevy marketing, Chris Perry, acknowledges that too many people saw it as the car of the successful plumber. John Fitzpatrick, Corvette's marketing manager, said it's the old saying, nobody wants to be seen driving an old man's car, but everybody wants to be seen driving a young man's car. To counter that perception, GM planned to make the new generation C7 more aspirational to younger people. Towards that end, a camouflaged version of the car was made available in the popular video game Gran Turismo 5 in November 2012. As part of the marketing effort associated with the introduction of the new generation, the 2013 Indianapolis 500 utilized the Corvette for the 12th time as its pace car. The Motley Fool reports that Chevrolet could be earning $10,000 or more in gross profit for every Corvette it sells. GM's profit on sales is separate from the profits made by the individual dealerships selling the cars to the public. The 2014 Chevrolet Corvette includes an LT1 6.2 liters V8. 376 cubic inches, making 455 horsepower, 339 kilowatts, or 460 horsepower, 340 kilowatts, with the optional performance exhaust. The LT1 engine. The LT1 designation was first used by GM in 1970 and then later in 1992, is in the Gen V family of small block engines, which will be used in GM vehicles as the new small V8 option. It features 3 advanced technologies to the new LT1 V8 engine: direct injection, variable valve timing, and an active fuel management system. Fuel injectors are located under the intake manifold. The Corvette remains rear-wheel drive with the transits located in the rear. Transmission choices include a 7-speed manual or a 6-speed, 2014, 8-speed, 2015, automatic with paddle shifters. The new interior includes wide bottom seats as standard, with sportier versions with high side bolsters optional. The Corvette's flag logo has been revised for the new car and a small casting of a stingray has been added to the car's ornamentation. Features of the new generation's structure include a carbon fiber hood and removable roof panel. The fenders, doors, and rear quarter panels remain composite. At the rear of the car, the trademark round taillights have changed to a more squarish form. The underbody panels are made of carbon nanocomposite and it makes use of a new aluminum frame that locates the 4 wheels an inch farther apart, front to rear and side to side. Luggage space decreased by 33% from the previous generations. The overall weight of the car was not announced by General Motors for many months after its first showing in January 2013. Despite the increased use of aluminum and other lightweight materials, numerous publications reported that the weight would remain essentially unchanged from that of the previous generation. In August 2013, the weight of the new Corvette was reported to be 3,444 pounds, 1,562 kilograms, meaning it would weigh more than the previous generation C6 ZR1 model, 3,324 pounds, 1,508 kilograms. The ZR1 C6 weight included a supercharger and intercooler on its 6.2 liters engine. Chevrolet announced the C7 Z06 at the 2014 Detroit Auto Show. The 2015 Z06 Corvette has 650 horsepower from the supercharged LT4 aluminum 6.2 liters V8 engine. The new generation Corvette resurrected the Stingray name, originally spelled Stingray on 1963 through 19 1967 models and Stingray from 1969 until 1976. For the 2015 model, Chevrolet began offering a transaxle version of the 8L90 8-speed automatic to replace the previous 6-speed 6L80. For the 2017 model year, Chevrolet once again introduced the Grand Sport GS model. This model includes Z06 wide-body styling features and suspension tuning along with the Z51 dry sump LT1 engine configuration. Grand Sport models were available in 10 exterior colors and could have the optional Heritage package, which included hashmark fender graphics, available in 6 colors. As part of the introduction of the Grand Sport in Geneva, Switzerland, Chevrolet also announced the 2017 Chevrolet Corvette Grand Sport Collector Edition that was to be limited to 1,000 vehicles in total, with 850 for the U.S. market. Final production numbers show 784 coupes and 151 convertibles were built, 935 total. The $4,995 Z25 option package was a cosmetic upgrade that contained the following: blue fender hash marks, tautone blue leather seating surfaces with a logo on the seat headrest, blue leather stitching, serialized edition numbered dash plaque, and carpeted floor mats with logo. For the 2019 model year, the ZR1 variant returned. This model features a new LT5 engine. The long block of the LT5 is the same as the LT4. But the supercharged displacement was increased from 1.7 liters to 2.65 liters. The C7 ZR1 power output is 755 horsepower. The last C7 Corvette, also making it the last front-engined Corvette, a black Z06, was auctioned off on June 28, 2019. For $2.7 million at the Barrett-Jackson Northeast auction. The auction benefited the Stephen Siller Tunnel to Towers Foundation, which helps pay off mortgages for the families of first responders that were killed in the line of duty and builds mortgage-free, accessible smart homes for injured service members. The 2020 Corvette model, both coupe and convertible configurations of the base model Stingray made their debut within a 3-month gap. The coupe made its debut on July 18, 2019, with 3 launch colors: red, with the Z51 package, white, and blue, while the convertible made its debut on October 2 at the Kennedy Space Center along with the C8. Race car, which took part at the 2020 Daytona 24 Hours. The Corvette C8 is the first production Corvette to have a rear mid-engine configuration. It is also GM's first rear mid-engine production car since the 1984 Pontiac Fiero. The base engine is a 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8, called the LT2, which generates 495 horsepower and 470 pounds-per-foot of torque when equipped with either the Performance Exhaust Package or the Z51 Performance Package. The C8 is the first Corvette to be offered without a traditional manual transmission, while the convertible is the first Corvette with a retractable hardtop. In January 2020, the car became the most expensive charity vehicle sold that week at the Barrett-Jackson auction, selling for $3 million. The proceeds of the sale went to the Detroit Children's Fund. The LT2 saw fuel management system upgrades for the 2022 model year, which featured new fuel pump and injectors. The base price was also increased by $1,200. A new IMSA GTLM Championship Edition package, limited to 1,000 units, was introduced for 2022. The Corvette C8 Z06 is expected to debut in the 2023 model year. It will feature a 670 horsepower 5.5-liter naturally aspirated dog flat plane crank V8. This engine, the LT6, is the most powerful naturally aspirated production V8 engine. The Z06 is redlined at 8,600 RPM and features the same dual-clutch transmission as the Stingray, albeit with gearing changes specific to the performance of this model. Over the years, the Corvette has won awards from automobile publications as well as organizations such as the Society of Automotive Engineers. Automobile magazine ranked the 1963 and 1967 Stingray first on their 100 coolest cars list, above the Dodge Viper GTS, the Porsche 911, and others. In 2013, Automobile Magazine selected the Corvette C7 as its Automobile of the Year. Sports Car International placed the Corvette at number 5 on their list of the top sports cars of the 1960s. Hot Rod Magazine in its March 1986 issue selected the 1973 A74 Corvette LS6 454 as one of the 10 most collectible muscle cars in the company of 1968 A70 Chevy, 1970 Cuda, 1970 Challenger, 1966 A67 Fairlane, 1968 A70 AMX, 1970 Camaro Z28, 1968 A70 GTO, 1968 A69 Charger, and 1967 A68 Mustang. Car and Driver readers selected the Corvette Best All-Around Car 9 out of 11 years in Car and Driver's Readers' Choice polls including 1971, 1972, 1973, 1974, and 1975. Car and Driver magazine selected the Corvette for its annual 10 Best list 16 times, the C4 from 1985 through 1989, the C5 in 1998, 1999, and 2002 through 2004, the C6 from 2005 through 2009, and the C7 in 2014. Motor Trend magazine named the Corvette Car of the Year in 1984, 1998, and 2020. Society of Automotive Engineers publication Automotive Engineering International selected the 1999 Corvette convertible, along with the Mercedes-Benz S500, Best Engineered Car of the 20th Century. The 2005 Corvette was nominated for the North American Car of the Year award and was named Most Coveted Vehicle in the 2006 Canadian Car of the Year contest. U.S. News World Report selected the 2010 Corvette as the best luxury sports car for the money. Edmunds.com, in its 100 Best Cars of All Time list, ranked the 1963 Corvette Stingray as the 16th best car ever produced worldwide. The 1990 ZR1 took number 50, the 1955 Corvette V8 took number 72, and the 2009 ZR1 took number 78 overall. The 2014 Corvette was nominated for the North American Car of the Year award. Astronaut Alan Shepard, a longtime Corvette owner, was invited by then GM chief engineer Zora Argostontov to drive pre-production Corvette models. General Motors executives later gave Shepard a 1972 model with the Bill Mitchell interior. Jim Rathaman, a Melbourne, Florida Chevrolet dealer and winner of the 1960 Indy 500, befriended astronauts Shepard, Gus Grissom, and Gordon Cooper. Rathaman convinced GM President Ed Cole to set up a program that supplied each astronaut with a pair of new cars each year. Most chose a family car for their wives and a Corvette for themselves. In his memoir Last Man on the Moon, Gene Cernan describes how this worked. The astronauts received brand new Corvettes, which they were given the option to purchase at a used price after they'd been driven 3,000 miles. Alan Bean recalls Corvettes lined up in the parking lot outside the astronaut offices at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, and friendly races between Shepard and Grissom along the Florida beach roads and on beaches as local police turned a blind eye. Shepard, Grissom, and Cooper even pulled each other on skis in the shallow water. The Mercury and later astronauts were unofficially tied to the Corvette and appeared in official photographs with the cars and with mock-ups of space vehicles such as the Apollo lunar module or lunar roving vehicle. Cooper talked of the races along Cocoa Beach in his eulogy of Shepard at the Johnson Space Center in 1998. Corvette concept cars have inspired the designs of several generations of Corvettes. The first Corvette, Harley Earl's 1953 EX122 Corvette prototype, was itself a concept show car, first shown to the public at the 1953 GM Motorama at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City on January 17, 1953. It was brought to production in 6 months with only minor changes. Harley Earl's successor, Bill Mitchell, was the man behind most of the Corvette concepts of the 1960s and 1970s. The second generation, C2, of 1963 was his, and its design first appeared on the Stingray Racer of 1959. It made its public debut at Maryland's Marlboro Raceway on April 18, 1959, powered by a 283 cubic inches, 4.64 liters, V8 with experimental 11-to-1 compression aluminum cylinder heads and took fourth place. The concept car raced through 1960, having only Stingray badges before it was put on the auto show circuit in 1961. In 1961, the XP 755 Mach-O Shark Show car was designed by Larry Shinoda as a concept for future Corvettes. In keeping with the name, the streamlining pointed snout and other detailing was partly inspired by the look of that very fast fish. The 1961 Corvette tail was given 2 additional tail lights, 6 total, for the concept car. The body inspired the 1963 production Stingray. In 1965, Mitchell removed the original concept body and redesigned it as the Mach-O Shark II. Chevrolet created 2 of them, only one of which was fully functional. The original Mach-O Shark was then retroactively called the Mach-O Shark I. The Mach-O Shark II debuted in 1965 as a show car, and this concept influenced Mitchell's redesigned Corvette of 1968. The Corvette has a mid-engine configuration using a transverse mounting of its V8 engine. Zora Arkastantov's engineers originally built 2 XP882s in 1969. John DeLorean, Chevy's general manager, ordered one for display at the 1970 New York Auto Show. In 1972, DeLorean authorized further work on the XP882. A near-identical body in the aluminum alloy was constructed and became the XP895 Reynolds aluminum car. Duntov and Mitchell responded with 2 Chevrolet Vega, stillborn, Wankel 2-rotor engines joined together as a 4-rotor 420 horsepower, 310 kilowatts, engine which was used to power the XP895. It was first shown in late 1973. The 4-rotor show car was outfitted with a 400 cubic inches, 6.6 liters, small block V8 in 1977 and rechristened Corvette. GM Chairman Thomas Murphy approved the Aerovette for 1980 production, but Mitchell's retirement that year, combined with then Corvette chief engineer Dave McClellan's lack of enthusiasm for the mid-engine design and slow-selling data on mid-engine cars, killed the last hope for a mid-engine Corvette. A Corvette Stingray anniversary concept car was unveiled at the 2009 Detroit Auto Show, 50 years after the Stingray Racer concept of 1959. The vehicle was based on a combination of the 1963 Stingray and the 1968 Stingray. The new Stingray concept appears in the 2009 movie Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, as the vehicle mode of the character Sideswipe. A convertible, speedster version was used for the same character in the 2011 sequel, Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Production statistics from when the first generation of Corvettes was released in 1953 until the present. According to research by Specialty Equipment Market Association and Experian Automotive, as of 2009, there were approximately 750,000 Corvettes of all model years registered in the United States. Corvette owners were fairly equally distributed throughout the country, with the highest density in Michigan, 3.47 per 1,000 residents, and the lowest density in Utah, Mississippi, and Hawaii, 1.66, 1.63, and 1.53 registrations per 1,000 residents. 47% of them hold college degrees, significantly above the nationwide average of 27%, and 82% are between the ages of 40 and 69, the median age being 53. In 1960, 3 C1 Corvettes were race-modified and entered in the 24 Hours of Le Mans by team owner Briggs Cunningham and were numbered number 1, number 2, and number 3 cars in the race. The numbered number 3 car was driven by John Fitch and Bob Grossman, and it had finished the race in 8th place overall, but it had won the Big Bore GT class. The Chevrolet Corvette C5R is a grand touring racing car built by Pratt Miller and General Motors for competition and endurance racing. The car is based on the C5 generation of the Chevrolet Corvette sports car, yet is designed purely for motorsports use. It became one of the most dominant cars in GT categories, with wins at the 24 Hours of Daytona, 12 Hours of Sebring, and 24 Hours of Le Mans, as well as championships in the American Le Mans Series. The Corvette C5Rs debuted in 1999 and continues to be raced to this day, although the C5R has effectively been replaced by the Corvette C6R, C6R GT1, Z06. In 2005, the factory Corvette team began racing the C6R to coincide with the new 6th generation, C6, Corvette being released to the public. Private teams, primarily in Europe, continued to race the C5R for a couple of years before switching to the C6R. Corvette C6R went on to win its class at every race it entered in the 2005 ALMS season. By the end of 2009, Corvette had clinched 4 consecutive ALMS GT1 team and manufacturers titles, 2005, 2008, and 3 Le Mans 24-hour class victories in the LMGT1 category, 2005, 2006, 2009. 2007 and 2008 races were won by the factory Aston Martin's Quads DBR9. The last official race for factory GT1 Corvettes was the 2009 24 Hours of Le Mans C6R GT2, ZR1. While some privateers continued to use the GT1 version of the C6R in Europe, the official factory team Corvette Racing switched from the slowly dying GT1 category to the much more competitive and popular GT2 class in mid-2009. The new GT2 C6R used a modified version of the ZR1 model body but does not have the ZR1 supercharged engine. GT2 rules are based more on production vehicles. Therefore the GT2 C6R naturally aspirated engine was considerably more restricted and less powerful than its predecessor. The car debuted at Mid-Ohio's ALMS round. They achieved 1 ALMS race victory in the remaining 2009 ALMS season, and 1 victory at the final round of the 2010 ALMS season. Petit Le Mans. Corvette Racing's 2 GT2 C6Rs also led most of the 2010 24 Hours of Le Mans, but both cars were forced to retire. Racing in the new GTE Pro class, the C6R raced in the 2011 24 Hours of Le Mans with the number 73 car taking the class victory. The number 74 car led the class for most of the race but crashed in the morning hours. The C6R raced by Larber competition also took the GTEM class victory. In 2012, Corvette Racing returned to glory in the ALMS, winning 4 of 10 races and claiming the drivers, team, and manufacturers' championships. Corvette Racing repeated the feat in 2013 by winning 5 of 10 races and claiming the drivers, team, and manufacturers' championships again. In 2014, Corvette Racing introduced the new C7R to coincide with the launch of the 7th generation C7 Corvette. The car made its track debut at the 2013 Rolex Motorsports Reunion and later participated in the 2014 Roar before the Rolex 24 to prepare for the 2014 United Sports Car Championship. The car's new livery debuted at the 2014 North American International Auto Show. In 2015, the Corvette Racing C7R took class victories at both the 24 Hours of Daytona and the 24 Hours of Le Mans. In October 2019, at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, the C8R made its surprise debut during the world premiere of the C8 convertible. 2 cars took part in the 2020 Rolex 24 at Daytona International Speedway. The cars placed 4th and 7th in the GTLM class. For the 2022 model year, Chevrolet offered a C8R-inspired IMSA GTLM Special Edition package for the production of the Corvette Stingray. The Indianapolis 500 race has used a Corvette as its pace car 18 times. The 2008 running of the Indy 500 represented a record 5th consecutive year to lead the field until 2009 when the Chevrolet Camaro SS was selected. The Corvette's pace car years and details include 1978, a driven by 1960 race winner Jim Rathaman Chevrolet produced 6,502 production replicas. 1986, a driven by famed pilot Chuck Yeager, all 7,315 production convertibles were considered pace car convertibles and included official graphics, to be installed at the owner's discretion. 1995, a driven by then Chevrolet General Manager Jim Perkins, 527 production replicas were produced. 1998, a driven by 1963 race winner Parnelli Jones after an injury prevented golfer Greg Norman from performing the duty. 1,158 replicas were produced. 2002, a driven by actor Jim Caviezel, no replicas were produced, but graphics were available by special order. About 300 sets sold. 2004, a driven by actor Morgan Freeman, no production replicas produced. 2005, a driven by General Colin Powell, no production replicas were produced. 2006, a driven by cycling champion Lance Armstrong first Corvette Z06 pace car, no production replicas produced. 2007, a driven by actor Patrick Dempsey, 500 production replicas L convertibles. 2008, a driven by Emerson Fittipaldi, 500 production replicas A coupes and convertibles. 2012, a driven by Guy Fieri first Corvette C6 ZR1 pace car, no production replicas produced. 2013, a driven by Jim Harbaugh first year of production for the C7 generation. 2015, a driven by Jeff Gordon first Chevrolet Corvette C7 Z06 pace car. 2017, a driven by actor Jeffrey Dean Morgan 2017 Grand Sport convertible. 2018, driven by professional basketball player Victor Oladipo, Chevrolet Corvette C7 ZR1, no production replicas produced. 2019, driven by NBC Sports broadcaster Dale Earnhardt Jr. last year of production for C7 generation, no production replicas produced. 2020, driven by GM President Mark Roos. 2020 Corvette Stingray Torch Red Coupe, no replicas were produced. Chevrolet Engineering Research Vehicle Kaiser Darren, prototype in 1952, 435 built for the 1954 model year Nash Healey, 1951 A 1954 National Corvette Museum VH1 Corvette Giveaway Sweepstakes, also known as the VH1 Collection, 36 Corvettes, one for each model year. 1953 to 1989, Corvette Forum, the largest Corvette enthusiasts club in the world.